Hello everyone, here to update you on my reading. So let's start to address my new co-host. This is a different cat, this is Sakura, and she's also sleepy. Thank you. Thank you. The old lady, it's here with us, but she's on the floor on her little bed sleeping. So you might hear her breathing and snoring. Okay. Let's talk about what I read on the weekend. I told you that I was going to do a little experience, and that went so wrong because I was going to read The Scent of the Shadows. This one, I was going to mostly read this one if I could without reading other books in between. I started doing that, and I spent hours on this one in one go. My head was getting so sleepy, so tired. I was jumping the lines. I was thinking to myself, at least I'm doing progress. I wasn't. And this is pitiful. So I had to give it a stop, a little pause. I'm enjoying this one very much. It's picking it up on the first one finished. I'm not gonna get it yet again onto this trilogy is about, but really good, loving it, but I totally failed on the experiment I was going to read. What I did is I actually finished, like I told I would, I finished The Howl Moving Castle. Oh, this book is amazing. I love this story, even in book or in movie form. I just love it. It's amazing. This was such a comfort read, and I told you guys I was going to go to this one with a pen in hand and make all kinds of of little markings on it, and I did. It was so much fun just going in and marking all the little things. I'm pretty sure the next time that I'm gonna read this, probably next year, because I about once a year I grab this book. I will enjoy the annotations, and I did start one that I'm not gonna go into it because I haven't finished it, but I probably am gonna finish it later today, so you guys will see it. But I took another one from my TBR that is which is a side of this one. Yeah, the poetry one. This is a complete collection of poetry from Júlio Diniz. He's a Portuguese poet from the 18... I just saw it and just forgot it. 18 somethings. Well, this starts in 1857, so onwards. He didn't live that long because he died with tuberculosis or consumption. That's how you say it. But it's a romantic poet or type of poetry. I don't know how much I can actually talk about this because I like some, didn't like others. Was a 4-star read. But for anyone that isn't in Portugal, I don't know if these poems are translated or not, so I didn't find it. So probably when I'm marking the books, in the description, this one will be marked. I'll put the Goodreads page for this book, but it's probably Portuguese version. So yeah, it's fine. Poetry, good. Not my favorite poetry of all time, but quite pleasant. And that's just about it. So I finished 2. I did a little tiny thing on this one, and then I started another one. But since we are getting to the end of the year, it's pretty much almost there. I am going through all the books that I started or read, like the first chapter or the first few pages, and I'm reading those as I go through my TBR, using those as my jumping books. So during this week the books I'm gonna be centered are like this one. This is probably what I'm gonna read physical. I'm also going through audiobook and ebook at the same time, but those are other cases. Those are mostly the Victober that I don't know how I participate on this kind of things and I read books, but I don't know how to enter the discussion at the moment, because to be honest I haven't read that much on either of my Victober books. Oh, I also DNF'd one book that I got from Open Library and I was listening while I worked. Now, to be fair, this was a completely random choice because I was like, I'm in the mood for vampires. I want something that is small and I could hear while I'm working and finish now. Nothing that is like a saga of 17 books. And I picked up Dark Engines. It's Lesbian Vampire Story Collection, really tiny, by Pam Kinsey or Kensey. I mean, you guys do not want me to start a rant about the proper use of corsets, how and the difference of corsetry and of using a corset and tight lacing, or yeah, you don't want you do not want me to go there. To be honest, that was not the only thing on that book that I didn't like. There was some not so pleasant other things, but I really do not want to concentrate on the bad books. Just mentioning it happened, it passed, I didn't after it. Not for me, but maybe someone cares enough for it that he likes and reads to the end. So that's about it for now, and I will update you probably in 3 days. Hello, so Thursday, 15th of October, and I'm here for another update on my reading this week. So let's just start. The first book after I updated that I finished was one that doesn't have English translation. Translation. Words are very difficult today, very difficult. This was published first in French, then it was translated in Portuguese and Serbian, and it is the translation that I can do of the title is The Cult of the Vampire, very dark cover, and it was written by Jean-Paul Bourre. French, I really don't like it. But it is supposed to be non-fiction, and it's supposed to be study about the people that do the cult of the vampire, that do treat vampires as something that exists or in some shape or form, and how do they practice their cult. Now, this almost read like a fiction book. I know with the theme it's very subjectable if it's fiction or non-fiction, is on that iffy place where some people might not think that this is non-fiction, but it read really like a fiction book. That part threw me a little bit off, and thing is, it was really well written. This is really engaging and really pleasing, but it had like total dialogue, and I mean there's non-fiction books that have dialogue, but you know the amount, the specificity, the details, it's never the same when they do dialogue on non-fiction and fiction books. But this really did read like fiction, though it has information and it has like images of things that are discussed through the book, but it also focused on one particular person that was apparently supposed to have been a vampire, and they follow it through different countries and study it instead of focus. I mean, maybe that was the whole thing of this book, but I was expecting more details about several covens or several groups of people or individual people that actually practice the cult of the vampire, because this is just a group, and then they had some information about this one specific count that they thought, not Count Dracula, though they did talk of Count Dracula. I don't really know how I study. I gave it 3 stars, and I don't really know how I feel about it. Because it was very entertaining, and that's part of a non-fiction book, to entertain you. It's part of its function, but I think it's lacking of the other informative and a little bit more objective part of it. So let's keep it at that. It was a 3-star because of how entertaining and well rated it was. Then I finally finished what I chose to be my first Victober. I say Victober because I'm not engaging in any other activity of Victober. I don't do social media well. I just talk here on YouTube and some other, and I comment on other YouTubers about it, but that's the extent I'm going to it. And to be honest, I was this year, for some reason I am not feeling the call for Victober as I usually do, and that's a pity. But I did finish the first book that I chose for it. That was Gothic Tales by Elizabeth Gaskell. It's a collection of tales about disappearances, curses, witches, all that good stuff. The witch tale was the one that I liked the most, and it's probably the bigger. I really need to search a little bit more how to better evaluate collections of tales, because I'm like, it was a 4-star for me. I really like Elizabeth Gaskell's writing, but I never know how exactly I should give my opinion or review collections of tales, because it's several stories and my mind starts thinking on one and then the other, and then how much do I say? It's a little bit does anybody has this problem too with collections of tales? Do tell me. But yeah, it was a 4-star. I really like Elizabeth Gaskell's writing style. Really pretty, really soothing. So it was a really good read. I had it by Open Library. Also by Open Library, I read The Bookshop by Penelope Fitzgerald. This one was just a really treat. Also 4 stars. English. My God, it's so really hard today. Also 4-star. It's a book about a woman, middle-aged. I think that's the correct word, middle-aged woman, that wants to start a bookshop on a little town, and lots of things happen, and it's not a happy story. It's really not a happy story now that I think about it. It's all the difficulties that she encounters while she tries to work on her little bookshop on a very old house, very old and damp house with lots of problems. And besides the problems that she encounters with the house being old and damp, she also has to deal with the people that of the town, and some of them don't really want the bookshop there, they want an art center. Now, if this sounds familiar, it's because there is a movie that I already have seen a couple of years ago, and I totally forgot that I have watched the movie, and then I was listening to this book and thinking, this sounds really familiar. And then I went to look, and there was a movie, and I saw that I have already watched it, so I was like, okay, this explains. But again, for read, very, not a happy read, but very, very nice. And the other book was a DNF, and I couldn't read more than 50 pages. And this book, some people really like it, and that's okay. But I really, really hated it with a passion. And that one was Like Water to Chocolate by Laura Esquiel. With this was my particular copy. You guys can see, really not a pretty copy. Oh, this book. I read this book because I had read Chocolate by Joanne Harris, and I loved that one. Loved it, and one of my goals for 2021 is to finish the other books on that series. But Goodreads was like, if you like Chocolate by Joanne Harris, you're gonna like Water to Chocolate. And I was like, okay, both have chocolate in the title, both have a sort of magical realism or just magical feel to it. And both are about food, lots of similarities, maybe they are similar in a way. And I have to say, I do like the idea that when this girl, Tita, bakes or cooks something, the people that eat it feel something or something happens to them. I like that idea, that her mood and what's happening in her life influences her cooking. Sounds brilliant. What doesn't sound brilliant to me is having really explicit descriptions of how you take off the testicles of a cock. Rooster, same word. I'm not of a rooster. You dirty mind. And very detailed images of like dozens of people just vomiting, or birds with their neck half broken, or lots of strange things that are not really pleasant. And for example, I don't want to compare this with Chocolate just because Goodreads told me that I might like it. But the other one, if we are talking about food, and the other one had a chocolatery in the middle of it, so the food and the chocolate was kind of bringing this village together with all the things. It was like the food and the chocolatery kind of went and disturbed this village, and because of it, people start getting more together, more they resolve their problems in the sometimes not the best way, but whatever. By the end, there was like more wins than not. This one, nothing that it's happening here is making anyone happy. Until the point that I read one girl, it's probably gonna be really happy after that horse ride, but no, not even the romance. I don't think that the romance in this is romantic. I don't know how much of a spoil it is, but yeah, Tita and Pedro are the main romance in here, and Pedro does something that I think that's just not romantic at all, and it's kind of dumb. So I wasn't having fun, and I read like 50 pages. Also, this is told, each chapter is a different recipe over different months, so there's 12 chapters in here. Also, like that was really, really original, and I like that concept. But I can't. I'm sorry if you like this one, but I really can't. And yeah, that's about it for this for now. I'm not sure how many more books I'm gonna be able to read this week because it's been a very hectic week. So I think I will update you tomorrow, and we shall see how it goes. Yeah. Bye bye. Hello guys, last update of the week. I only read one more book, and it is The Lady and the Unicorn by Tracy Chevalier. Was a solid 4-star. The only thing that I didn't quite enjoy as much about it is that it has many points of view, and some of them sounded a little bit similar, or like most of them. You could understand who was who, but still it was a little bit similar overall. But I really enjoyed it a lot. It is basically a story around the tapestries of the Lady and the Unicorn, and it was just good and entertaining, with lots of romance and, well, not some romance, but some, not the just romance. There was a lot happening. And yeah, that was it. That was like 7 books this week. It wasn't that good of a week. And the old lady gave me some nights where I couldn't basically sleep, so it was not a good week overall. I was a zombie some of the days. But yeah, next week shall be better, probably. We can hope. So, see you guys.